Thanks for joining us in another one of our conversations here in the 11 Breaking News Center. I'm Carel Lajara, your digital anchor at KKTV 11 News. Today, June 24th, 2022, Supreme Court made a historic decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, severely limiting the access to abortion care in many states, 13 of them. That does not include Colorado. However, the impact may be felt here. Today, joining us, we have Attorney General Phil Weiser, Colorado's Attorney General. Thanks so much for sitting down with us. I want to start with your overall thoughts on this decision.
This is a sad day. I had the chance to work at the U.S. Supreme Court as a law clerk for Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who would have been devastated to know that the basic commitment to treating everybody equally, to giving women control over their bodies, and to respecting a precedent that's been reaffirmed numerous times is now being undermined. And there's going to be so much harm that comes from it. Today's a dark day.
To talk a little bit about the impacts that this is going to have, I mean, it's going to affect millions and millions of people. How do you think it will impact Colorado? We know that abortion access is still something that's very legal here and people can get it, quickly and safely because Governor Polis passed a law saying that it would be protected no matter what the federal level was going to do. So how do you think Colorado will be impacted?
We have to recognize in Colorado, we have the protections we have because the people of Colorado have spoken clearly. And we've passed the Reproductive Health Equity Act in our General Assembly. It'll be up to me as Attorney General to help defend and enforce that law, providing these critical protections. I do want to underscore there are other issues, access to contraceptives services, for example, birth control, the morning after pill. Those are going to get subject to challenge, and we're going to be here to defend reproductive rights. Within Colorado, you're right, the law is clear, but there's also a whole nother set of cases that are going to happen when people come to Colorado from another state. Colorado has the right to access abortion care here. Other states may not. Other states may try to stop people from coming to Colorado. We'll defend the right of our doctors to practice medicine and the right of any patient here who gets a service that they need.
Do you expect an overflow of patients coming to Colorado to try to get abortion care?
We have already seen in Colorado increased number of patients coming from Texas, for example, because Texas has made it harder to get abortions there. This is obviously not just a Texas issue. There was a case involving Texas that was at the Supreme Court. This is going to be every state around us pretty much. We're going to be an oasis in the middle of a desert for so many who are in a terrible situation, life-threatening conditions, someone who might be born and not be able to live, or someone who's a victim of rape or incest. They may not be able to get the abortion care they need in the state they live. They're going to look to come to Colorado.
President Biden made his remarks today on this decision, and we know that he's met with several attorneys general over the past week to talk about the next steps and whatever the Supreme Court was going to decide to do. So what does that look like now?
We're living in a time of uncertainty. The Supreme Court had in Roe versus Wade and a series of cases reaffirmed rights to abortion, reproductive health services. That is now all up in the air, and it's all up to states. So Colorado, we acted in advance of this. Other states, their actions are going to play out, and then there's going to be a lot more litigation in an area that up until today, it was not an open question. Now, there's a lot of open questions.
Some people feel that they don't have a say in this decision because it was just given upon them by the Supreme Court. So how can people voice their opinions and their concerns?
Over the next days, weeks, and months, the American people and the people of Colorado will have a chance to be heard. A Supreme Court decision is not the end of a conversation. It's part of an ongoing conversation. We have marriage equality in the United States of America, in Colorado, because so many people engaged and mobilized. We have to have a similar effort around reproductive health. And that's going to keep happening. It'll happen here in Colorado. I believe there'll be a rally, even maybe as soon as Monday. We all have to consider how we show up as citizens. And then, of course, we have elections to decide on who represents us, what positions they take. All of the anger that people are feeling will have a chance to be heard in our political process. And although this Supreme Court decision is a major blow, I don't believe it's the last word. I really believe there will come a day when this dark chapter will be replaced by more light and by freedom and by recognizing that we have to protect everyone, and that what's going to happen under this ruling is a lot of people are going to be left unprotected. People are even going to die because they can't get life-saving medical care. It's awful that we're entering this chapter, but we don't have to just throw up our hands. We can be engaged as citizens. We can do something.
Attorney General, I want to thank you again for taking the time to sit with us. So before I let you go, any final thoughts or a message to the community?
I know that people are hurting right now. For a lot of us, this was a painful step that we never thought we would see. The Supreme Court had been there as a guardian of basic freedoms, telling people your equal rights, your control over your body is something that we are going to protect. The Supreme Court today, this Supreme Court, had a different message. That means it's up to us at the state level to protect people, to make sure that no one has to die because they can't get access to life-saving medical care. No one has to bear a child because of rape or incest. And that when people are faced with terrible decisions like, are you forced to carry a child to term who's going to die? We don't have to give people that painful anguish. We can give people health care, reproductive health care. I recognize in many states that's not what's happening. And that's part of what makes this such a painful and awful chapter. We all have a lot of work to do to protect people, to defend our freedoms. As Colorado's Attorney General, I'm committed to that work.
Attorney General Phil Weiser, thank you so much for sitting down and providing such insight. We hope to stay connected with your office and invite you again as we continue to follow these developments.
I look forward to it. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.